Panarchy, a term used to describe a web of complex adaptive systems, self-organizing systems which are linked by a network of hierarchies across different scales. Each hierarchy level operates at its own pace, but is steadied by larger, slower levels and frenzied by smaller, faster levels. No individual level is more important or more influential than the other, and cross-scale change between these levels happens both from larger to smaller scales and from the smaller to larger scales. It is understood that larger levels of a panarchy evolve slower than the smaller levels. 4 stages of evolution occurs in a panarchy: conservation, release, reorganization, and growth. Adaptive renewal cycles across scales are predominantly linked through the release stage. This stage sees cross-scale interactions of small, fast events overwhelming the larger, slower ones. What happens at one scale can influence or even drive what's happening at other scales. Ignoring this cross-scale relationship is one of the main reasons modern natural resource management is failing us. Humans naturally focus on the scale of a panarchy which is most noticeably changing, the smaller, faster level. However, it's not possible to successfully manage a whole system by focusing on one scale. I want to use the rainforest as an example to demonstrate how cross-scale changes in a panarchy can alter systems from smaller to larger scales and transform ecosystems through evolution. When one level collapses, it can cascade up to the next larger and slower level by triggering a crisis. This is evident in the rainforests of Borneo, which are devastated each year by massive deforestation for many products including palm oil. Deforestation within Borneo is the small scale of this panarchy. A larger scale includes deforestation across the Indonesian region, where 6 million hectares have been cleared for palm oil production. This is evident in the rainforests of Borneo, which are devastated each year by massive deforestation for many products, including palm oil. Deforestation within Borneo is the small scale of this panarchy. A larger scale includes deforestation across the Indonesian region, where 6 million hectares have been cleared. The largest and slowest scale of the rainforest panarchy is the global Earth system, which is suffering the effects of global warming. One of the most significant contributors to global warming is massive deforestation on a global scale. The largest and slowest scale. Borneo is the 3rd largest island in the world, and it was once dense and unexplored tropical rainforest. Today, the forests of Borneo are a shadow of what they once were, flattened and burned for palm oil plantations. Borneo is the 3rd largest island in the world, and it was once dense and unexplored tropical rainforest. Today, the forests of Borneo are a shadow of what they once were, flattened and burned for palm oil plantations. Palm oil, which is used in cooking oil, cosmetics, chemicals and animal feed, is the crisis trigger in the small scale of this panarchy. Between 1984 and 2001, it was estimated that protected lowland forests in Borneo decreased by more than 56% for palm oil. This is a staggering 6.5 million acres gone. This clearing and burning of rainforest for palm oil plantations in Borneo has devastating effects on the natural habitat of many mammal species, including the critically endangered orangutan. Orangutans and elephants are 2 species that are specifically susceptible to injury or death from deforestation for palm oil. Orangutans and elephants are slow animals that are often unable to outrun the fires set to clear native vegetation, and their tendency to eat palm fronds and seeds within the plantations often sees them killed. Orangutans and elephants are slow animals that are often unable to outrun the fires set to clear native vegetation, and their tendency to eat palm fronds and seeds within the plantation often sees them killed. There are many linkages between biodiversity and deforestation in tropical rainforests. Changes in the microenvironment of rainforests and edge effects such as heat stress, light and predation also result from deforestation, and as rainforests become increasingly isolated and fragmented, species are finding it harder to survive. It is estimated that 50% of the world's species are threatened with extinction from deforestation. The trend of deforestation for palm oil in Borneo is not limited to this scale. Indonesia is not an industrialised country, yet it is the 3rd largest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world. 3/4 of these greenhouse gases come from the permanent clearing of rainforests, largely for commercial palm oil plantations. Issues of haze from burning of rainforests and the decimation of biodiversity are also effects of deforestation in the Indonesia region, which are triggered by small-scale change in places like Borneo. Indonesia and Malaysia both account for over 80% of global palm oil production, with their largest market in Europe. Tropical rainforests are the world's most valuable ecosystem. They provide us with food, medicines and timber. They regulate our global climate and contain half of all plant and animal species on Earth. However, global deforestation is occurring at such a rate that all rainforests could disappear within the next 100 years. Between 1991 and 2007, the annual conversion of tropical rainforests to palm oil plantations increased 400-fold, and in 2006, 816,000 hectares of forest had been cleared for palm oil. At this rate, the largest rainforest in the world, the Amazon, could be turned to savanna by the end of the century. Global deforestation is one of the major contributors to global warming. Rainforests act as the Earth's lungs. They take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and in return release life-giving oxygen. They regulate global rainfall patterns and they store 45% of terrestrial carbon within their leaves, roots and soils. When these rainforests are cut down and burned, all this stored carbon is being released into the atmosphere as a greenhouse gas, contributing to global warming. Climate change is one of the most significant challenges of our time. Experts now believe that already too much human-induced damage to the global climate system has occurred, that more frequent severe weather events, higher sea levels, massive extinctions of species and critical habitat, and health and quality of life issues for everyone on Earth is unavoidable. This panarchy of deforestation of tropical rainforests is cascading a crisis across scales and impacting climate on a global level. What might seem small and insignificant on a local level in the tropical forests of Borneo have greater, far-reaching impacts on the lower, slower scales of our global Earth system, and it must stop.